Hello friends, good morning, good evening, good night in this magical era of electricity. We can even show each other gardens at night. What we photographed or made movies of during the day. So good morning to you. The autumn is coming, time for ripening of citrus fruit. Today I would like to show you something interesting to me about propagation of Sansevieria plants, also known as snake plants, also known as mother-in-law's plants. Mother-in-law's plants from all kinds of varieties. There is dear mother-in-laws in every country of the world. One way to propagate the Sansevierias very easily is by cuttings. Let me just show you. This is my United Nations of mother-in-law plants collection. Different types. And they're all easy to propagate by cuttings. You just cut a piece, actually one leaf you can cut on several pieces, and stick it into some medium, and in about, well, in my climate, in about 3 months they start to grow babies. It's that simple, except there is one exception, and that is the variegated plants. Like this one, you see, has a yellow edges, and this one, and this one, and the most common, and here is similar to this but twisted, which is this one, a little bit twisted leaves, and the most common variegated is this one, nice tall one, erect. And they all have this feature where the young leaves, the edges are not too yellow, and as they get older they get very nicely yellow. A very prominent difference between the dark part and the light part. And earlier on in one of my older videos, I showed you something interesting, which is that when I cut a leaf of this variegated, not common variegated plant, and planted the cuttings, and 3 months later the babies from the base of a cut start to grow, base plants, they retained the very slim characteristic of this type. This type is called Sansevieria trifoliata Bentel's sensation, variegated. They retained these very slim characteristics, but surprise, surprise, they did not retain those white edges, that variegation. This is the Bentel sensation that came out of cuttings of this. Well, that's an exception, but does that exception repeat itself? the truth is something that's repeatable, right? Does it repeat itself when one grows cuttings from this more common variegated one? Or does that apply only to the one of the less common ones on which I tried it? Well, I was wondering, I didn't know, and I tried it, and so I know. So if you're wondering, wonder no more, but let me show you. Here we go to the part where I do different experiments, and this little Buddha was for 3 months sitting, waiting what's gonna happen with the cuttings. And 3 months later, the cuttings start sprout the babies, and lo and behold, they're not variegated. None of them, none of those that grew so far, so probably none of them is gonna be. So I expect that after they're gonna be big plants, they will regain that erect, longish form. That I don't know yet, but probably. But in the non-variegated way. Okie dokie, artichoke. I'll see you after a while, crocodile. If you have a grandchildren, remember this rhyme. It's very important for little children when they learn the mother's tongue to hear rhymes, because rhymes is easier to remember. Okay, my friends. Bye-bye. That's the end for today. That's the end for this week, I assume. See you later.